In 2014, Brazil hosted the World Cup on home soil. Their star-studded squad would fall at the semi-final stage as they missed out on adding a sixth star to their jersey. But what if you go back to that year's FM and try and win the tournament with their B team? It's a little overlooked how Brazil got off to a decent start at the 2014 World Cup, accumulating 7 points in the group stage before reaching the semi-finals. That game turned into an absolute horror show as they were crushed by the eventual champions Germany 7-1. One major factor in that humiliating defeat was the injury to Neymar in the previous round. This time around, we won't be able to rely on any of their elite talents. For this challenge, we cannot select a single player who Brazil chose for their 2014 campaign. After much deliberation, we have our squad assembled. Within it are 6 players who play for clubs in Brazil, 16 in Europe, and 1 in Asia. What's immediately noticeable is just how inexperienced we are in defence. None of our selections have even accumulated 10 appearances for the national side. And that's the same for our keepers. Aged 28, Diego Alves has enjoyed a decent season with Valencia, and he'll be number 1 on the opening match day. With the obvious selections of Thiago Silva, David Luiz, and Dante an impossibility, we have called up Dede for the upcoming tournament. He spent the entirety of his career in his homeland, winning a number of domestic trophies with Vasco da Gama and Cruzeiro. For us to have any chance of success, we're going to need a big tournament from Lucas Leiva. Interestingly, in reality, he would never earn another appearance with Brazil after 2013, retiring from the national selection at 24 matches played. Whilst there is a certain lack of experience in the squad, one player who we can call on is a 34-year-old Ronaldinho. He's definitely limited athletically, but still one of the best technical players in the world. In 2002, he'd score twice en route to his nation's triumph. Hopefully he can emulate that form here. And with the draw made, we find ourselves in a group alongside the likes of Greece, Japan and Portugal. Whilst topping it may be difficult, I think we should at least at a minimum be aiming for progression in second place. With the warm-up games producing some mixed results of a win and 2 defeats against England, Spain and the USA, it was time for the real deal to begin. Up first, Japan at the Maracanã. Looking to play aggressively on the front foot, we'll be deploying a strong front 4. At the other end of the field, there are still question marks. None of our central defenders have performed well at all in the previous few games, but we're going to go with Miranda and Doria. Inside a minute, we'd enjoy a monumental opening to our home tournament. Douglas Costa has played in behind and makes it look easy, curling it into the top corner. With 29 minutes played, Wagner Love would add a second. Not the most Brazilian goal you could imagine, but they all count the same. After a Japan penalty, Doria rose highest and restored our 2-goal advantage. With 30 minutes remaining, the Asian side would again get on the score sheet, but to no avail in the end. We opened the campaign with a 3-2 victory. Up next, an injury hit Portuguese side. We've made a couple of changes to the lineup, with Juan Jesus and Elias coming into the team. In reality, Portugal would endure a disastrous 2014 World Cup, getting eliminated in the group stage by the USA. At the heart of their defence is actually a man born in Brazil. Pepe would spend his youth football career with Corinthians Alagoana before leaving for Portuguese side Maritimo. And how we could do with his defensive qualities right about now. Not sure how best to describe that. Having failed to create any chances whatsoever, the game was drawing to a close. Some poor defending left Nelson Oliveira in the centre, and he adds a second. And that's how it would finish. Occupying third in the group standings, we'll need a victory to avoid elimination at this early juncture. And our task has been made considerably more difficult with injuries to Wagner Love and Gabriel Barbosa. For the game ahead, I've looked to deploy a lot of creative quality, with a front four of Coutinho, Lucas Moura, Kaká, and Douglas Costa. The former actually scored twice in the 2018 edition against Switzerland and Costa Rica in the World Cup. It would be the legendary Kaká who opens the scoring from the penalty spot. By far our most convincing performance yet, we dominate the game against Greece, outshooting our opponents 17-6. Injuries to our first two striking options is definitely a problem, with poor chance conversion up top. But with 6 points, we'll be moving into the knockout rounds. Elsewhere in the tournament, there have been few surprises, with all of the powerhouse nations making it through to the next phase. Our round of 16 opponents will be the reigning world champions Spain. Again looking to keep things tight at the back, will be favouring a defensive 4-4-2. Any chance of success for us will be contingent on stopping their elite central midfield. Xabi Alonso scored his nation's opening goal at the 2006 edition of the World Cup. He's added another this time in a demolition of Mexico 6-1 in the group stage. Despite the plethora of talent on the field, the game's opening goal would arrive in very fortuitous circumstances. In a game which surprisingly lacked any quality, Spain couldn't conjure up any clear-cut chances. With a 1-0 victory, we advanced to the quarter-finals. Our opponents, England, whom Brazil eliminated back in 2002 at this very stage. In reality, in 2014, England would endure their first World Cup group stage elimination since 1958. There's very little positive to say about that campaign, but this time around, they've been doing considerably better, topping their group and beating Croatia in the round of 16. With a 34-year-old Steven Gerrard at the heart of the midfield, there's a lot of young talent around him looking to book their spot in the semi-finals. With neither side performing impressively, it would take 73 minutes for the game's first major opening. Gerrard gets in behind and comes close. From the resulting corner, Baines puts the ball into the centre, Barkley converts. With just a minute remaining, we pushed up the field looking for an equaliser. The ball breaks down our overcommitted left. Gerrard waits on the ball before a perfect cross into the middle. And that would be the end of our World Cup journey. At the quarter-final stage, we fall to England. Overall, there were very few positives to take from this tournament. Our side often looked totally disjointed in the attack and defensively far from competent. Unsurprisingly, none of our players would compete for the tournament's golden boot. That honour would be earned by Park Chu-young, who scored an impressive 7 for South Korea. With 2 assists, Felipe Coutinho would register joint 11th on the tournament's top assisters charts. But who would go on to triumph in South America? Well, after a couple of fiercely fought semi-finals, it would be neighbours Holland and Belgium competing for the Jules Rimet trophy. Interestingly, 6 of the Oranges' starting 11 actually started the final in Johannesburg 4 years earlier. They'll be looking to avoid defeat this time around. And to earn the biggest trophy in world football, they're going to have to score past one of the best young keepers in the world. Aged just 22 here, Thibaut Courtois has already established himself as his nation's number 1. Belgians would enjoy a dream opening 42 minutes to the match, scoring twice through Romelu Lukaku and Moussa Dembele. But the Dutch wouldn't be beaten that easily. Klaus-Jan Huntelaar clawed one back before a nice passing move finds Van Persie in the middle. 2-2, which is how the game would end. After 5 perfect penalties each, Toby Alderweireld stepped up and missed. A costly one, which earned her first World Championship for the Netherlands. Our attempt to win the World Cup with Brazil's B team was a failure. Unable to build any great team cohesion, we didn't look like world champions in waiting once. With the World Cup fast approaching in the USA, they'll be hoping to fare a lot better than what we did here.